Hello everyone, welcome to Basic Electronic Circuits, lecture number 6A. Today we are going to discuss a diode application, that is clamper circuits. So let us look what does the clamper do. So simply put, clamper does the following. So we have our input waveform like this, and this is what the output waveform looks like. Okay, the gray color one is my input and the magenta color is the output. So what do you see over here? That the output waveform has been shifted above by a DC level, by a positive DC level. So this type of clamper is called as a positive shunt clamper. And it can be, output waveform can be shifted down by a negative DC level. And that type of clamper is called as a negative shunt clamper. So basically in both the scenarios, what is happening is the DC level of the output waveform is shifting to the positive value or towards the negative value. So that was the clamper does. Now let us see a formal definition. So it's a network which consists of a diode, resistor, and a capacitor that will shift a waveform to a different DC level. Basically, output waveform. I mean, input waveform to a different DC level, and that becomes the output with a different DC level. Then, without changing the appearance of the applied input signal. So that's what the clamper do. Okay. So without further delay, let us start with the clamper circuit. So this is my clamper number one. For this circuit, I have to plot the output waveforms with respect to time, input output waveforms basically. So it consists of a capacitor, 10 microfarad, a diode, which is connected in parallel with the output, and this is a silicon diode, and a resistor of value 10 kilo ohms. Output is taken across the resistor, and input is a sinusoidal waveform, or a, whatever we used to decide. Correct. So since we have a silicon diode, we will use a constant voltage model. So for a constant voltage model, VD on will be 0.7 volts. Okay. And this is the what do you mean by constant voltage model? The diode will be on once the voltage across it is greater than VD on. Okay. And a large current flows. And diode will be off whenever voltage across it is less than VD on value. So that's the constant voltage model. So perhaps they have given the input over here. It's not sinusoidal, it's a square waveform. So V in peak to peak is 10 volt peak to peak square. That means Vm is 5 volt and minus Vm is minus 5 volt. And here the time period of the square wave is given as 1 millisecond. So let us just note it down those values. Oh, I've already written it down. So V in is a square wave. Vm is plus 5, minus Vm is minus 5, and T is around 1 millisecond. And we have VD on as 0.7 volts. Okay, so this is the information which is given to us. Now let us observe how this circuit will work. Okay, so let us go back over here. Now, can we tell us what will happen when the diode is on? I mean, when will the diode will be on? D1 will be on. Okay, so diode will be on in the positive half cycle. That is very, very clear. Diode will be on in the positive half cycle. Let me just rub this out first. Yeah. So we can say V in greater than 0 means positive half cycle. Now, can we discuss, what precisely moment, what is the precise moment at which the diode turns on? So here, the diode turns on when V in is greater than VD on voltage for the diode. Then we can say diode D1 is on. Okay, so whenever the V in is greater than the turn on voltage of the diode, then the D1 turns on. Fine. So let us see now. So during the positive half cycle of the input, when V in is greater than 0, diode turns on. Okay, whenever V in is greater than VD on. And you will say that if it is a square input, the in the positive half cycle, the input is already 5 volts, so that should turn on for all the time. Yes, it is correct that whenever V in is greater than 0, the diode will turn on because the input is a square wave of 5 volts. But imagine if you have a sinusoidal waveform or a triangular waveform. In that case, slowly with respect to time, the voltage gets built up. So in those cases, we can say that V in greater than VD on, then the diode will be turning on. In such a case, when V in is greater than 0, then also the diode turns on instantly because the V in is around 5 volts. That is much greater than VD on. Okay, so the point is when the diode turns on, it is replaced by its constant voltage model. And what will be the output voltage over here? So the output voltage will be given by, it will be a parallel voltage that will be equal to VD on only, and VD on we have taken it as zero point 0.7. Okay, so basically during the positive half cycle, the output voltage across across the output, across the resistor, it's around 0.7 volts. Okay, and it's a constant value for the entire duration of positive half cycle. The output is constant at 0.7 volts. Now what really happens is, at the same time, as the output voltage reaches to 0.7 volts, at the same time capacitor also starts charging. Okay, so capacitor charges instantaneously towards the plus Vm value, which is plus 5 volts. Okay, now what is the meaning of this word instantaneously? Let us discuss that. So over here, the charging time for the capacitor is given by TC1, which is given by R on into C1. Now since the diode is on, it will be replaced by its on state resistance of the diode. It's there. Okay, so diode also has internal on state resistance, which is quite small. Let's say it is 10 ohms, and capacitor value is given as 10 microfarad. So if you multiply 10 by 10 microfarad, you will get TC1 as the charging time as 0.1 millisecond. Okay, and this 0.1 millisecond is much less than t, which is around the time period of the signal, which is around 1 millisecond. So that's the meaning of the word. The capacitor C1 charges instantaneously. Okay, and the voltage across the capacitor C1 gets built up and reaches up to Vm plus Vm, with the polarity plus and minus from left to right, as you can see. Okay, so this is what really happens. And if we apply a KVL in this loop, so you will get minus Vm plus Vc1 plus Vd on equal to 0. So here it is minus Vm plus Vc1 plus Vd on equal to 0. So the voltage across the capacitor Vc1 will be equal to V in minus Vd on. And in the positive half cycle, what is V in? V in is same as Vm. So Vc1 will be equal to Vm minus Vd on. Okay, Vc1 will be equal to Vm minus Vd on. So Vm is around 5 volts over here, and your Vd on is around 0.7. So what will be Vc1, the voltage across the capacitor? So Vc1 will be 5 minus zero point 0.7, that is 4.3 volts. So that means this is the voltage across the capacitor during the positive half cycle. Okay, so what all events have happened during the positive half cycle? The diode has turned on and the output voltage is around 0.7 volts constant value. At the same time, the capacitor has charged and it has reached a value of 4.3. It has not reached up to Vm, it has reached around Vm minus Vd on value. Okay, so this is what happens in the positive half cycle. Now let's see what happens in a negative half cycle. So during the negative half cycle of the input, the diode will be off, right? Let me show it to you in the main circuit. So during the entire negative half cycle, there is no question that diode will ever turn on. So for the entire duration of negative half cycle, the diode D1 is off over here. Okay, now we have to analyze the circuit. What happens when the diode D1 is off? Okay, let us continue. So diode is off when V in is less than 0. That is true for entire negative half cycle. So your circuit reduces to this network. Okay, you have open circuit over here. So what will capacitor try to do? Capacitor, still it's a closed circuit. So capacitor will try to discharge via resistor R1. Capacitor will try to discharge in the opposite direction via resistor R1. So this is the discharge part for the capacitor when V in is less than 0. Okay, because the polarity has changed, right? This plus and minus has become minus plus. So when the diode is off, capacitor can discharge through R1. But since the discharging time constant, now let us calculate the discharging time constant TD. So discharging time constant TD for the capacitor is given by TD is equal to R1 into C1. Why R1 into C1? Because capacitor discharges via the resistor. Okay, so R1 value is 10K, C1 value is around 10 microfarad. So your discharging time constant will be 100 milliseconds. So we can write TD is equal to 100 millisecond. And this is much greater than T. That means what? Let me go back to the input side over here. See, the time period for the input pulse is 1 millisecond. And the time it takes for the capacitor to discharge, it's around 100 millisecond. So by the time it reaches 1 millisecond, next wave comes. So really we can say that the discharging across the circuit, I mean the capacitor discharges very, very slowly. So since the capacitor discharge time is constant, is given by Td greater than T, which is greater than the time period of the input signal, your capacitor C1 holds your charge. Then what is the charge on the capacitor? 4.3 volts. Okay, and when we say that the capacitor is holding a value of 4.3 volts, we can say it acts as a battery. Okay, so we have redrawn the circuit with capacitor shown as a battery because it is holding that charge, because the discharging time period is too high, greater than, much greater than the time period. So capacitor, instead of discharging, it will discharge very, very slowly. Okay, so there will be hardly any drop in the voltage. Maybe it will drop from 4.3 to 4.2995, something like this. Fine. So over here, once we apply, we can apply again the KVL in this loop and find the output voltage. So by applying KVL in this loop, we'll get minus V in plus Vc1 plus V out equal to 0. So here it is minus V in plus Vc1 plus V out equal to 0. So our V out will be equal to V in minus Vc1. Now remember, we are in the negative half cycle, and in the negative half cycle, V in is equal to minus Vm. So we substitute over here, instead of V in, minus Vm. So now V out will be minus Vm minus Vc1. So your V out will be given by minus 5 minus 4.3. So that will be equal to minus 9.3. So what can we have over here? It's a constant value, right? So V out will be equal to minus 9.3 volts. Since it is square wave, so output during the negative half cycle over here, we got it as minus 9.3 volts. Okay, so that's how we get that shift. Now let us observe the input output waveforms. So these are my input output waveforms. As you can see, the red color one is my input, which is going from plus Vm to minus Vm, that is plus 5 to minus 5. And the green one is my output with respect to time over here. As you can see, in the positive half cycle, its value is 0.7 constant. And in the negative half cycle, its value is minus 9.3. Okay, so and what about the DC level? I mean, what is the amount of shift in the output? So as you can see, the amount of shift over here will be 5, and if you subtract 5 from 0.7, you will get around shift as minus 4.3. Okay, so 5 minus 4.3 will give you 0.7. Fine, and minus 5 minus 5 minus 4.3 will give you minus 9.3. So that is the amount of shift we have. Marked it as a light green color line with the amount of DC shift. So here it is. That means what? See, the input is referenced around the x-axis, around the DC 0 DC level, while the output waveforms is referenced about this light green color line, which is a DC shift. So the amount of DC shift over here is minus 4.3. So these are my input output waveforms. Okay, for my clamper 1. Now let us quickly check these waveforms in LTspice. So let me go back to the circuit. Okay, fine. One more thing before we go to the LTspice. Every numerical of or every design of your clamper circuit, we have to write this assumption. And what is the assumption? That the RC time constant is larger than the time period of the input signal, to ensure that the voltage across the capacitor does not discharge significantly during the time the diode is off. Okay, so this is the underlying assumption. Fine, we have to write in all the cases, and it is true also in this numerical. Now let us build this circuit in LTspice and check out our results. Okay, so I'll open the LTspice window. So this is the LTspice window, and let me take the components from here, from the library. So first we'll take the voltage supply, and then we'll paste it over here. Then next will be the capacitor. The capacitor will do control R to rotate. Then will come our diode. So here is the diode, and then we'll have a resistor. Okay, and then we connect the circuit. Yeah, so we join the circuit together. It's a clamper 1 circuit, as you can see. And don't forget to add the ground. So here is the ground. Okay, so we'll just give an extension over here just to showcase that this is where I measure my output. So voltage across the register is my output. So let us mark the values now. The register value is around 10K. The diode is silicon, so we will select IN 4148 over here. And then the capacitor value is 10 microfarad. The input is a square wave. Okay, so how do we select it? We right click over here, go to advance and click on pulse. So the starting point and then the maximum amplitude and the minimum amplitude is +5 and -5. So we substitute +5 over here, -5 over here. Then delay time we can give it as 0.5 millisecond, and rise time will be 10 picoseconds. Fall time will be 10 picoseconds. On time will be zero point 0.5. That means the square wave is on for 0.5 and off for 0.5, and the total period is 1 millisecond. Okay, so let me put it over here. Let me separate it out so that there is no confusion. Okay, so we can place it over here like this. Okay, and now we are ready to simulate. So let me go to simulate and click on run. It will ask for a time period, so we can give around 3 milliseconds. And we have to also define the input and the output node. So this is my output, V out, and this becomes my input. This is V in. Okay, and now we can plot these waveforms. Again, we have to simulate, and now you get the time axis from 0 to 3 milliseconds. I'll right click over here, click on add trace. First I'll plot V in. So let us check if V in is coming properly or no. Yes, it's proper, because for around from 0 to 0.5 milliseconds it's around 5 volts, and from 0.5 to 1 millisecond it's 0, and it will go on continuously like this. So input is proper. Now let me plot the output. So here is the output waveform. Okay, so is it coming all right? Let us check. Okay, let me check this out. Let me maximize this. Yeah, more or less it's correct, but as you can slightly see, this is building up. Okay, so let me increase the time period. The positive half was building up. Let me increase to, let's say, 30 milliseconds. Okay, let us observe the waveforms. So if you observe this carefully, can you see this top peak of the output is going on increasing, and then it is settling down over here? Okay, and this side also. Okay, so we have to take when the output has achieved a steady state value. So it will achieve a steady state value around let's say 17 milliseconds. So we'll plot the waveforms from 17 milliseconds, and let us see that. Okay, so let me right click over here, go to edit simulation command, and maybe start it from around 17 milliseconds, and let me give dash value as around, let's say, 20 milliseconds. Okay, and let me again check the waveforms. And now if you measure it, I think it will be proper now. Okay, and now we will check it one by one over here. Okay, so this is my V in and this is my V out. This is what we have achieved over here. So for the positive half cycle, we have analyzed it's coming out to be 0.7. Let us observe how much we will get it over here. So let me right click over here. Okay, so for the positive half cycle, we are getting around 577 millivolts. Okay, and that's okay, because our turn on voltage for the diode, we have assumed it to be 0.7. It's coming 577 millivolt. That's fine. And for the negative half cycle, we are getting around minus 9.41. That's also okay, because of the diode voltage. This diode voltage difference between your ideal between your zero point 0.7 constant voltage model and this diode over here. So that's not this much difference. It's fine. So you are getting this difference. Fine. So over here, we are getting in the positive half cycle, we got it as 583 around millivolts. And in the negative half cycle, we are getting around minus 9.41. That's absolutely fine. Okay. So the values are coming all right. So this is how you check the input output waveforms for a clamper circuit. Okay, so this is how we get the input output waveforms in LTspice. Now let us move on to the next part. So let me go to the clamper number 2. So clamper number 2 actually will be a design of clamper. This is a straightforward numerical, but clamper number 2 will be a design one. So here it is. So we have to design a diode clamper to generate a steady state output from the input waveforms given below. So here are my input waveforms given over here. Input is a square wave going from +5 to -5 with a time period of 1 millisecond. And for the output, the Vout, it's Vout positive value over here is around 9.3 volts. And in the negative half cycle, it's going to minus -0 0.7. And the time period is again given as 1 millisecond. Okay, so let us start. So what do you see? Which type of clamper will be used? So here the output waveform is shifted up. So definitely we'll be using a positive shunt clamper. So here is my circuit of a positive shunt clamper. This is a positive shunt clamper. So we have taken the value of capacitor and resistor over here. Now, since we want the discharge time to be high, we are taking the higher value of capacitor, that's around 100 microfarad, and the resistor of 10 kilo ohms, so that the discharging time is high when the diode is off. So that's my circuit for the clamper. So over here, we have observed that output is 9.3 for positive half cycle, and your for a negative half cycle, it's minus 0.7. So we are employing a constant voltage model over here. Okay, so let us start our analysis now in this circuit over here. Let me keep the same analysis. So when do you think the diode will be on? Okay, so first of all, we'll see for the entire positive half cycle, the diode will be off. So if we write over here, and for the entire positive half cycle, the diode will be off. For the entire negative half cycle, the diode will be on over here. Only in this case where we have the inputs as square wave. Okay, but if it is a sinusoidal wave, if it is a triangular wave, then we have to write in general form. So your diode will be turning on when v in a I mean v in is in the negative half cycle. So v in is less than minus vd on value. Okay, if v in is less than minus vd on value, then only the diode will be turning on. Okay, so we have seen that in clipper circuits also. In a negative half cycle, when V in is negative, so when V in value is lesser than minus -0 0.7, then only the diode turns on. Okay, so let us go into the analysis. We have to write the same assumption again for every numerical or design. So during the negative half cycle of the input, when V in is less than 0, and especially when v in general, when v in is less than minus vd on value, your diode is on and your circuit reduces to this. Okay, it is replaced by a constant voltage model, and here my output voltage will be equal to minus vd on over here. Output voltage will be equal to minus vd on. Fine. So during the positive that is what we want during for our design requirement, right? This is inconsistent with our design requirement that in a negative half cycle output should be minus -0 0.7, and we are getting around minus -0 0.7. So this is inconsistent. So during the negative half cycle output is minus -0 0.7, and but at the same time what happens is capacitor C1 instantaneously charges towards minus Vm, because it is a negative half cycle. It will charge towards minus Vm value. Okay, and why it charges instantaneously, we have seen this before. So right now on time is my on state resistance of the diode. We take it around 10 ohms for example, and C1 value is 100 microfarad. So our charging time will be 0.01 millisecond here, which is much less than the time period, which is around 1 millisecond given. Okay, so that's why your capacitor C1 charges instantaneously towards minus Vm value, and the voltage across the capacitor builds up and tries to reaches a value of Vm with this polarity plus minus from right to left. Okay, so now if you apply the KVL in this loop, you will get minus Vm minus Vc1 minus Vd1 equal to 0. So here it is. So what will be Vc1? Vc1 will be equal to minus V in minus Vd1, and in a negative half cycle, V in is minus Vm. So you will get Vc1 as minus of minus Vm minus Vd1, where Vc1 will be 5 minus 0.7, which will be 4.3 again. So this Vc1 equal to 4.3 is my voltage across the capacitor during the negative half cycle. Okay, so the capacitor store charges of 4.3 volts in the negative half cycle. Now we have already seen in the positive half cycle, the diode will become, I mean, the diode will be off for the positive half cycle entire duration. So for the diode will be off when V in is greater than 0. So your circuit will reduce to this. We have open circuit over here, but still we have a close part. Okay, so the capacitor will try to discharge via the resistor R1, and now we are in the positive half direction. So this is the discharge part for the capacitor. So what really happens is when the diode is off, capacitor can discharge through R1. Okay, so the capacitor C1 try to discharges via resistor R1, but let's see the discharging time constant. So over here, the discharging time constant TD will be R1 into C1, which will be 10K into 100 microfarad, which will come out to be 1000 milliseconds, which is much, much greater than T. So if we consider that, we can say that capacitor is almost holding the charge of 4.3. So when it is holding the charge of 4.3, it will act as a battery. So we have replaced the capacitor by a battery with a positive and a negative voltage across it that follows. And now if we apply the KVL across the circuit to calculate the V out, we'll get minus V in minus VC1 plus V out equal to 0. Okay, so here it is. So our V out becomes V in plus VC1. And in the positive half cycle, your V in is Vm. So V out will be Vm plus VC1. Over here, Vm is 5 volts and VC1 is 4.3. So output voltage during the positive half cycle will be 9.3 plus 9.3. Okay. And is this consistent with the design? Yes, it is. Because initially that was the requirement that during the positive half cycle, the output will be a constant around 9.3 volts. And during the negative half cycle, the output will be minus 0.7. So both the criterias are met. Fine. Now let us quickly go over here and check the input output waveforms. So here is how my input output waveforms look like. So the red color one is my input with a plus 5 and minus 5, plus Vm and minus Vm. And the green one is the output over here. As you can see, for the positive half cycle, the value is 9.3 volts. And for the negative half cycle, a value is minus 0.7. And over here, the amount of DC shift, it's around plus 4.3. So the light green color line, if you see over here, this is my amount of DC shift. Okay, so this this is a reference level across which the output waveforms are symmetric above and below this line, this 4.3 line. Okay, so yeah, so if you add 4.3 to 5 volts, you will get 9.3. That's how you get this value of amount of DC shift. Okay, so these are the waveforms which we got for clamper number 2. Now let's quickly build this circuit in Spice and check out the results. So in our case, we have already built up the circuit last time for clamper number 1. So only thing is that, let me just close this. Only thing is we have to reverse the polarity of the diode and increase the capacitor value to 100, let's say. Okay, so now let me reverse the polarity of the diode. So I'll select the diode and I'll click on Control R to rotate it. That's it. We don't have to do anything else. And we go to simulate and we'll click on run to check the input output waveform. So we can plot just wait, we can plot input and then we can plot output. So here it is. Now let us compare it with what we desire over here. So we had desired that output has to be 9.3 at the positive half cycle, and in the negative half cycle it should be minus 0.7. So here it is. So in the negative half cycle, its value is coming out to be, let's calculate this. So in the positive half cycle, its value is 9.41. That's absolutely fine, right? We should get 9.3, but we are getting around 9.41. That is absolutely fine because the on state value of the diode might be slightly different, which we have assumed. And for the negative half cycle, we are getting around a constant value of minus 588.37 millivolts. Okay, so we are getting this constant value of minus 588.37 millivolts. So that is also absolutely close, and that is absolutely fine. Okay, now I want you all to show one phenomena about the discharging. So your capacitor over here discharges in the positive half cycle. So let us observe that slightly. So here is my output. So I have maximized the output peak over here. You see, the capacitor tries to discharge. It is started discharging, but it will discharge after 1000 millisecond. So here you see it's 9.41 voltage. It's slightly going to 9.40 or 410. So you see there is a slight discharge, but this discharge is very, very small. Okay, that's why we consider almost this voltage as almost as a constant. Okay, so that's what the effect of discharging means. Fine. Now let us go to the next one now. Clamper number, let us go to fourth one. Design, again design of clamper. So this time we have to design a diode clamper to generate a steady state waveform V out from the input waveform. So this time they have given us a triangular waveform. Okay, so the positive peak for the triangular is +10 and -10 over here, as you can see. And for the negative peak we have +6 and -14. Whereas the time period is same, it's around time period should be till year. Okay, actually this is slightly this thing. So time period should be till year. So time period is around 1 millisecond. T is around 1 millisecond. So from the inspection of the output, what can we say? That the waveform is shifting down. So it should be a negative sun clamper. Okay. And here the amount of shift is much higher. So we have to apply external bias. So the circuit to do this kind of job is something like this, negative clamper. So here is my negative sun clamper. It is a bias negative sun clamper because we have applied a DC bias over here. And now with the help of analysis, we have to find out what is the amount of DC bias we have to apply. Okay, so this is our proposed circuit. C1 is 10 microfarad, R1 is around 10 kilo ohms. Diode it is there, and we have a bias supply. Okay, we have selected the value of R1 and C1 as 10 microfarad and 10 kilo ohms, so that the discharging time for the capacitor C1 is quite high when the diode is off. So that is what we want. And looking at the output waveforms, we have V out is +6 in the positive half cycle maximum peak value, and V out is -14 in the negative half cycle, and we are going for a constant voltage model. Okay, so let us start with the analysis. So looking at the circuit, when do you think the diode will be on? Diode will be on in the positive half cycle, correct? Diode will be on in the positive half cycle. For the negative half cycle, will the diode turn on? No. So look at the supply over here, VB. So is VB helping the diode to turn on, or it is opposing the diode to turn on? Definitely, VB value is opposing the diode to turn on. Okay, so that much extra voltage V has to apply in the positive half cycle. So what happens is, earlier, since it is a triangular waveform, it's building up its value, V in value. It's 0, then it becomes 1, 2, 3, and then it reaches to 10. So that will require some voltage to turn on. So how much is that voltage? That is what we are determining. So V in has to be greater than VD on plus VB. Okay, plus VB. Then only the diode D1 will be on. Fine. So let us see that scenario now. So we want V out as +6 during the positive half cycle. Okay, that is what we want. And for diode D1 to be on, it has to be greater than VD on plus VB. That's what we got. And it reduces the diode will reduces to this. We can replace it by constant voltage model. And this case, the output will be given by VD on plus VB. So the output here will be VD on plus VB value. Okay, and that will be equal to we have to calculate the VB value for that, right? So V on will be equal to V out should be equal to VD on plus VB. And what is the desired value of V out? We want the desired value as +6. We want the value as +6 volts. So now tell me what will be the value of VB so that the output is +6. Okay, so output will be +6 if VB has to be around 5.3. Okay, because VB plus VD on has to be equal to +6. So 5.3 plus 0.7 will give you +6. So VB has to be selected as 5.3. So this is what is this is consistent with our design requirement. Fine. And but what happens is, at the same time, the capacitor charges to the instantaneous value of tries to charge to instantaneously to VM. And we have seen the word why instantaneous is written, because the charging time for the capacitor, it's quite smaller than the time period. So the charging time for the capacitor is just given as 0.1 millisecond. Okay, here also it's coming out to be 0.1 millisecond, which is lesser than the time period of the input signal. That's why capacitor tries to charge instantaneously towards Vm value. Okay, and the voltage across the capacitor will build up with a plus and minus polarity as follows: plus minus from left to right. So now if we apply the KVL in this loop, you will get minus V in minus Vd minus Vc1 plus Vd on plus Vb equal to 0. Okay, so minus V in plus Vc1 plus Vd on plus Vb equal to 0. So here we have Vc1 as V in minus Vd on minus Vb. So in the positive half cycle, V in is plus Vm. So Vc1 will be equal to Vm minus Vd on minus Vb. So what will be the value of Vc1? It will be, Vm is given as plus 10 now. So it will be 10 minus 0.7 minus 5.3. So your value of Vc1 will come out to be plus 4 volt. So voltage across the capacitor Vc1 charges to around 4 volt during the positive half cycle. Now let's go to the negative half cycle. We know in the negative half cycle, the diode will remain off. The diode will remain off for the entire duration. So your circuit reduces to this, and your capacitor now tries to discharge via the resistor R1. In the negative half cycle, when Vin is 0, the capacitor discharges in the opposite direction. And since we have a closed path still, okay, even though the diode is off, we have open circuit over here, still the capacitor can discharge. Okay, but we saw that the capacitor discharge time over here is again less. It's around 100 milliseconds, which is much, much greater than the time period of the input signal. Okay, so hence we can say that even if the capacitor tries to discharge in a negative half cycle, its value, it's the discharging time is very, very small, very, very slow, basically. Sorry, slow, not small. It is very large, but very slow. The discharging is very slow. So we can consider that the capacitor is holding the, almost holding the charge, and it acts as a battery. Okay, so that's why we have replaced this capacitor by a battery with a plus and minus negative sign going from left to right like this, Vc1. So now if we apply the KVL in this loop, you will get minus V in plus Vc1 plus Vd plus V out equal to 0. Okay, so here we have it, KVL around this loop, minus V in plus Vc1 plus V out equal to 0. So V out will be equal to plus V in minus Vc1. Okay, and we are in the negative half cycle, so V in will be equal to minus Vm. So V out will be equal to minus Vm minus Vc1, and that is coming out to be minus 10 minus 4, which is minus 14, which is desired. Okay, which is what is desired. Okay, we wanted it minus 14, so the output voltage during the negative half cycle is coming out to be minus 14 volts. That is what we wanted, right? In the positive half cycle, we should get plus 6. We are getting plus 6. In the negative half cycle, it should be minus 14. So that's what we will get. Now we'll see the input output waveforms. See here, these are my input output waveforms. The red color one, triangular wave, is my input going from 0 to 10 and negative value to minus 10. And my green color one is my output waveform. The positive peak is at plus 6, negative peak it has minus 14. And here the DC shift, the DC level, it's around minus 4. Okay, so about this DC level, this DC level green color line, light green color line, your output is symmetric. Okay, your output is drawn with respect to that DC level. Okay, that's the amount of shift. So how does minus 4 has come? If you subtract minus 4 from 10, you will get plus 6. So that's the amount of shift. That's the amount of shift by which the output waveform is shifted below. Okay, you can see there is no wave shape change. The output waveform is still a perfect angular wave. Only thing is its DC level has shifted down. And such type of clamper circuit is called as a biased negative shunt clamper. Okay, so now let us build up this circuit in LTspice quickly. So let me go back to LTspice now. So this is my circuit over here. So let me go to LTspice. Already we made some circuit. Now we will do the modification over there. So first of all, we have to reverse the diode and we have to add a biasing supply. So let me do that. So let me push this down a little bit. Okay, so we have pushed this down. Okay, let me pull this a little down, and then I'll reverse the polarity of the diode. So I'll also have to add a supply voltage over here. So here it is. I will have to add a supply voltage also. So that's why I made a provision for a room. Now I have to add, I will remove this diode and reverse the polarity. Okay. And then I'll delete this wire from here to add the supply voltage. Fine. So I'll go to voltage source and I'll add a supply voltage over here. Fine. And I'll connect it together. So this voltage, we call it as a VB. Let me show it to you. Yeah. So this is the circuit. As you can see, both are same almost. I mean, this VB has to be 5.3 volts. That's what we have decided. And this capacitor value has to be 10 microfarad. Fine. So rest everything will remain the same. But now instead of a pulse, we have to give a triangular waveform. So what happens in a triangular waveform over here? Let us observe the triangular waveform. So it has to be plus 10 and minus 10, like going like this. So what we need to do is, instead of a pulse, we have to go to PWL. Okay. So we will go to PWL file. Sorry, PWL over here. And we have to add the points over here. Let me start with 0 all. Okay. So for the time 0, the value has to be around 0. For time 0.5 millisecond, the value has to be 10 volts, right? And then for 1 millisecond, again the value has to be 0. Then for 1.5 millisecond, the value has to be let's say minus 10. I mean, it is minus 10 over here. Let's say this is 0, this is 0.5, this is 1 millisecond. Okay. And then again, so let's consider this time period to be 2 millisecond. Let's say if it is not 1 millisecond, 2 millisecond. So this will be 0, 0.5, 1 millisecond. Okay. And this has to be around how much? This will be around 1.5. So at 1.5 it is minus 10. And again at 2 millisecond, its value is 0. Fine. So that's what we have got. We'll write OK and we'll click on OK. So this is what we got. But we have to keep on repeating this. So what we have to do, we have to right click over here and we have to add few statements there. So we have to write repeat forever. Okay. And at the end, we should write and repeat. Okay. We should write and repeat and click on OK. So that's how the statement will look like for a triangular waveform. Let us observe whether we get a proper triangular waveform or no. So this is a V in. Okay. And yeah, we'll give a delay of 0. Basically, we don't want to give a delay now. Let me give it as 3 millisecond. And we are not starting. So now if we simulate it again, you'll get a correct value. See, you got a triangular waveform. Okay. Only thing is there here the period will be around 2 millisecond instead of 1 millisecond. That's okay. Here actually it's slightly incorrect. This should be 2 millisecond instead of 1. This should be 2. And this should be actually, let me just mark it over here, from year to year. Okay. The extension should be from year to year. Let me see if I can move it from year to year. And here instead of 1, it should be 2 millisecond. Okay, let me go back. Yeah, this should be 2 milliseconds around. So let me see if I can write it over here. This is, this should be 2 milliseconds. Now it will be correct. So now let me change this over here. Yeah, so now you see it's correct. For 2 milliseconds is the time period of the signal. So at 0, so this is plus 10 and minus 10. It's coming up perfectly all right. Now let's check the output. Let's simulate and check the output, plot the output. So I'll right click over here, click on add trace and click on the output. Here it is. Here it is my output. So first cycle it's coming like this because initially what happens is for the diode to turn on, it requires VD on plus VB voltage. Okay. So we should ignore the first cycle and we should continue from the second cycle. So let me do that. We will start from let's say 2 millisecond and we'll go to around 5 millisecond. Okay. So let me start. Yeah, here it is. Here you see perfectly now the input is beginning from, let me show it to you. Your input is proper and let's check the output. Here it is. This is what we have estimated. I mean, in the during the concept discussion, and this is what we are getting in the simulation. As you can see, both are the same. So V out positive value should be around 6 and it's coming around 6 as you can see. And for the negative value, it should be minus 14 and it's coming out to be minus 14. As you can clearly see over here, it's minus 14. Okay. So in this way, we can check out the input output waveform for any clamper circuit. Fine. Now let us quickly go to the last one. Now last one, let me maximize this. Now we are not going to do the analysis for clamper number 3. I'm just going to simulate and check the output. That's it. I leave the analysis up to you. So over here, this is again a clamper given over here. So here the diode is reverse polarity and the supply voltage is given as 2.7. So let us quickly simulate this. Again, the input is given as plus or minus 10 volts triangular waveform. Okay, with a period of around here again we can take it as 2 milliseconds. Fine. So let us observe the waveform now directly instead of doing the analysis. So here again the diode polarity is reverse. So I'll select the diode and I'll reverse the polarity like this. Okay, and the supply voltage has to be around how much it should be 2.7. So the supply voltage has to be 2.7 volts. Yeah, sorry for disturbance. Now, yeah, we are ready with the circuit. We have built up the circuit in LTspice schematic. So let us observe the output now without, I mean, input is still a triangular waveform only. So let us observe whether all this analysis you have to try out on your own once. Okay. So here the output should be shifting up and its value is 22. Let us check that. So let me check the peak value. It's around 21.65. That's absolutely fine because the diode voltage might not be 0.7. And for the negative peak, we are getting around 1.83. Okay, that is also fine. It should be 2 according to our analysis and 22 and 2. Okay, so in this way, in this case, it will be a biased positive shunt clipper because it is shifting the output waveform up. Okay, so I leave the analysis of this clamper circuit on your own. So with this, we have completed the analysis and the LTspice simulation for the 4 clamper circuits. Okay, so I think that will be all for this session. And next time we will start with some other topic. So until then, have a good day and thank you.